Am I the butthole for telling my husband that I will never drive with him in the car? Hey y'all. I am 30, female, and don't have a driver's license. I grew up in a country where owning a car is not all that common. Moved to the US 5 years ago. Was a student for the first 2 years, so couldn't afford driving lessons and didn't have the time to learn as well. Then I got married. My husband has been driving since his teen years. He grew up in the same country as I did. My husband moved here about 10 years ago and he has taught all his friends driving. He has taught his friends of friends driving. He forced me to learn to drive. Fair enough, gotta drive when I'm in the US. He told me he would teach me. I was so excited, but the yelling wouldn't stop. Every time I tried to get behind the wheel, he would just end up coming home with me crying. This was 3 years ago. It was so bad. At this point, I am traumatized to drive. I enrolled myself in a driving school 2 years ago. 10 hours worth of driving lessons cost me about $600. I did well and the trainer said I'm good and just need to practice. But whom would I practice with? My husband? I don't have any close friend here whom I can ask for this favor. Again, the yelling and have eventually lost all the confidence. Today we tried again, as usual, and I got scolded for putting our lives at risk by not taking the turn faster. I immediately pulled over and asked him to drive. Once we came home, I told him that let it cost $1,000 or $2,000, I will go to the driving school and practice with them and get my license, and I shall never drive with my husband in the car unless it's an emergency. He got so furious and shouted at me. Am I the butthole? Edit. My husband doesn't yell at other people while teaching them driving. Casually asked a couple of his friends in a joking manner and they told me he was a good and patient teacher. You gotta keep in mind that sometimes, husbands, boyfriends, and partners react differently to you than they do your friends because, they're more comfortable with you, so they're more comfortable expressing themselves, whereas with friends, sometimes they don't want them to see their bad side. So this is not at all what I thought it was gonna be. I thought the story was gonna be about her husband being a crazy driver, because I remember being a kid and being told that, because I always wondered why my grandma and grandpa had separate cars, because they didn't need to, they could have shared, and it was because my grandmother refused to be in the car with my grandpa driving because he was a crazy driver. And let me tell you, he drove all the way up until his 80s. And even me being in the car and my family being in the car, he was a crazy driver even at 80 years old. But he was a good driver, no accidents or anything. I don't know why I'm knocking on wood. He's passed now. But yeah, you should get petty. And when you're driving the car with him, do what he does to you. But when there's no cars around, when it's safe, because maybe he'll, react differently and you don't want to get into an accident or anything like that. But that would be funny if you turn the tables and be like, well, you did this to me, so now I'm doing this to you. This person was deemed not the butthole, and we all know why I meant. Don't yell at people when you try and teach them something. It's not going to do nothing. Next one. Ooh, whoa, we got another petty revenge. I moved on from a guy who kept ghosting me and ignoring me. 1 year after he moves away, he texts me wanting to reconnect. Ugh, ew. Guy I had a thing for kept ghosting me, so I moved on with my life. A year later, he messages me out of the blue. I had a neighbor 3 years ago who I used to text back and forth a lot. He'd always talk about hanging out and whatnot, but anytime I'd offer a time and day I'm available, it'd be crickets. One time, I even came by and gave him some extra cookies I had made, and he wouldn't respond. I had texted him earlier that morning and said I could come by at a certain time. When I did, crickets. The following day, I had the cookies, and when he saw me and I told him I'd be looking for him to give the cookies, he told me he forgot. I gave him the cookies, and he apparently liked them a lot. Of course he did. I admit I had a bit of a thing for him. One day he decided to hang out with me. He worked from home, so we decided it'd be 6 p.m. So an hour before, I confirmed and he doesn't answer. An hour later, he texts me saying that he's busy with his Twitch stream. And then an hour later, he even texts me saying that he needs time to change. What? We didn't go out until around 9:30 p.m. And by that point, I was pretty upset since I put in a lot of effort to look good. Can you imagine getting ready for a date at 6 p.m., waiting for him to text you back, and then you guys don't go out till 9:30. You tell me you sit in that outfit and makeup and hair, whatever you do, for that many hours? Bro, not worth the time, man. Okay, we hanged out one more time after that, but he asked me for selfies. What am I wearing? And it was extremely obvious that he just wanted sex. At some point, I stopped pinning for him because I wasn't going to waste my time on someone who didn't respect my time. There it is. Yes. At some point 2 years ago, he texted me that he was moving away and I wished him well. About 2 months ago, he texted me for the first time since he left. He kept going on and on about how he missed me, how he wanted to make me cookies for him. What? And how I should send him selfies of myself. He wanted to hang out, and it was that I remembered: the constant ghosting, the plans that he would always follow through, the times he made me wait. I've been out of town a couple of times with work on the nights he wanted to hang out. For the past 2 months, I've gone back and forth with him, pushing the dates that we would hang out and reconnect back, and never sent any photos of myself. I'd take days to reply to him. Part of it was that I was petty, but another part of it was that he was no longer had any weight on my life anymore. I'd never gotten an apology before when he promised a time and either cancel or make me wait long enough. Instead, he would always tell me that I'm just being emotional and brush it off. After a little over 2 months of doing the same thing to him that he did to me, today he sent me a message that said, "Cool then, I'm done being nice." I just thumbed up and blocked him. Okay, this is so funny, but actually it also reminds me of high school when a guy was like being mean, or who would like take forever to respond. So like, example, if you texted your crush and he took like an hour to respond, then you would then in return take an hour to respond. And it was like, this reminds me so much of that. I mean, it is really funny that you did the same thing to him, but also I feel like this didn't register with him at all. Cool then, I'm done being nice. Bro, you weren't even nice to begin with. What are you talking about? This is so funny. Yeah. He is not worth the time, and honestly, like, the way he's reacting makes me think he's done this a few times. So obviously this man just wants to get down to the dirty. He doesn't want to be nice. He doesn't respect you. So good on you. You blocked him, and that's how it should be. Alrighty, next. Ooh, this one I added roommates because I thought roommate would be really cool to get into. So this one is, am I overreacting for thinking of requesting a new roommate? Well, we're about to find out. I recently started college. I was paired fairly well with my roommate, both 18 male, but I have a couple concerns. First, he's disgustingly messy. He leaves trash, food, dirty laundry, and literally everything else you could think of on the floor, with zero plans to clean it up because he's depressed and doesn't like it when his space is too clean. Okay. I understand not keeping it clean, but it is to the point that I feel like it's disrespecting me, as I can't get ready in the morning without stepping on a stale chip or an earring back, and I can't access our fridge or microwave without shoving his stuff out of the way. Second, he is weirdly attached to me. I can deal with this one much easier, but still annoying. I can't do anything without him. Skating, shopping, etc. He doesn't get anything done without me. For example, I work on the weekends. While I was gone this past weekend, he tried to take a shower, had a panic attack, and went home. 2-hour drive because he was so lonely. I can't get anything done with him around, including homework. I'm going to request that he gets his side of the room cleaned up and by the end of the week, or I'll begin the process of filing for a new roommate. Is that an unreasonable request? Should I give him more than just this one chance? My roommate is messy and attached to me, and it weirds me out, and I can't tell if I'm overreacting to it. Okay, this is tough because obviously your roommate is struggling with some mental health, and that needs a bit of help. My other question to this would be like, how long has this been going on? Because if it's only been going on for like a couple of months, I think it's something you need to like sit down and talk to him about. But if this is something that's been going on for like a really long period of time, like a year, and you've tried to talk to him, it's not working, then I think it's okay for you to request a different roommate. I mean, regardless, I think it's okay for you to request a different roommate. Just because, like, you're not really responsible for this other human, but I also think that maybe you should, like, just human to human, like, help him get a little help. Like, maybe you can chat with his parents, or maybe you can suggest some therapy, suggest something that can help him a bit, because he's obviously struggling, and it's just nice to help another human out. This one is another Am I the Butthole? And for not going to my friend's wedding after what she said to me. A few months ago, a friend of mine told me she was getting married. It wasn't meant to be a regular wedding, but more of an elopement kind of thing. We were supposed to be the groom, me as a maid of honor, and the best man, plus a few close family members, about 10 people in total, and it was planned for early November. I say wedding like that in the title because there are no invitations, no save the date, no ceremony, no walk down the aisle, just courthouse and dinner. That comes from the bride herself. I'm not guessing anything. A week ago, I got the news that I had gotten a permanent job. I don't know how to explain it because this is a very typical thing from my country, Spain, where every so often the government will hire professionals to work either in the administration or in public institutions, education, high school. This is usually a great opportunity because these positions are for life, well, until you retire, and they can never fire you. What? I never knew this. Learn something new every day. That sounds kind of cool. In order to apply for these positions, you have to take an exam, and then depending on your years of service to the institution and the score you get on the exam, you can get one of those jobs. Long story short, I took an exam last year and last week. I got told I got one of the jobs, but I'll be moving cities for that. When I told my friend this, the only thing she said is, "When are you leaving? Can you still come to my wedding?" No, congratulations, no, I'm happy for you, nothing. I must add, 2 weeks ago, I talked to her to know where we were having dinner for a wedding, and she said she didn't have anything planned yet, let alone booked. She had told me she had everything booked and that she really needed my RSVP. I wouldn't have understood her answer, but in that context, I've decided that if the only thing she cares about is her and her wedding, and she can't be happy for me, I'm not going to the wedding. Am I the butthole? I will say in advance that Reddit has deemed this person the butthole. To me, it sounds very entitled. It's like, "When are you leaving? Can you still come to my wedding?" And she's like, "Oh, well, they never said congratulations." So that kind of sounds like entitled for me. I don't know how I feel about this story. Because, like, I understand if it's like something you really, really like, you've worked really hard for, and you expect your friend to be like, "Oh my gosh, like, I'm so happy for you. Can you still come to the wedding?" But also, like, you have to keep in mind, like, this person is planning her life with this person. She's been so excited about this wedding. It's probably like the only thing on her mind right now. That doesn't mean she's like not happy for you, but also you're moving cities, and if you guys are that close of friends, there's probably some sadness there as well, right? Like, "Oh my god, when are you leaving?" So this is hard for me because we don't have a lot of context, like how was it said and blah blah. I do, however, think it is very, very rude of you to be like, "I'm not gonna go to the wedding." Oh yeah, like, if the only thing she cares about is her wedding and she can't be happy for me, then I'm not going to the wedding. Girl, when did she ever say she wasn't happy for you? Like, I don't understand. And you're not to... So that I can understand why Reddit deemed her the butthole just because of her reaction. I think she's way overreacting. 100%. Petty revenge. And I'm laughing because this title is so funny. The title is "Take Your Dog's Poop Back." And I'm just like envisioning like how sassy it is. "Take your dog's poop back." Okay. I live in a small cul-de-sac off a main road. Our neighbors to one side have been nothing but a thorn in our side since they adopted 2 medium-large breed dogs that they just let roam all over the cul-de-sac. Mainly, they let them poop on any and every front lawn and don't bother picking up. It has been a thing where I've made a point to not let my own dog poop on the front lawn, so I can find a pile out there. It wasn't my dog. It's been such a problem that I made a post about it before. Well, it happened again. Doing some pruning in the front yard, I find 2 piles off to one side. I've been having some insomnia in the last couple weeks, so I know this is a perfect time to return the piles their dogs so generously left behind. At about 1 a.m., I went outside with a baggie in hand, and instead of putting it in the garbage can like last time, I tossed those piles directly onto the middle of their driveway. No bag, just poop. One kind of bounced and rolled under a car, but the other was firm splat into the pavement right in the driver's side door of a different car. This morning over coffee, I heard a disgusted hose splashing. Well, I'm sure this won't stop the poops from coming. I think I found my new favorite way of returning their dog's poop. Dog poop is always very controversial in the sense that, like, people are always, like, you know, leaving their dog poop out on the grass and blah, blah, blah. I love dogs. I have my own dog. You've probably seen her in a couple of videos. It's hard because dog poop actually, if you leave it in the elements, composes quite fast. It is actually way better for the environment if you leave your dog's poop on the grass versus, you know, putting it in a plastic bag. But also, there's a respect thing, right? If you're out walking your dog on a trail and your dog poops not on the walkway, not on the path, you know, leave it. It's better for nature if it's out in the woods. Or, you know, walking on the sidewalk, you should definitely, you know, pick it up if it's not your property. But another way you could deal with this is, like, if your dog's, like, smaller and these are, like, bigger and medium dogs, like, it's so obvious it's not your dog's poo because of the size difference. Personally, I think you guys should, like, as a neighborhood, like, go up and talk to them about it. Actually, what I thought was gonna happen is that they took the dog poo and then they put it on the front porch, like, and then just keep piling. But the way she did it is also funny, like, without the bag and just putting it on the driveway. So yeah, thanks for watching another episode of Reddit. I never know how to end these things, as you guys can probably tell. So I hope to catch you guys on the next one. Enjoy your week, enjoy your day, and have a good one.